Hello and welcome to session 15 of my Pillars of Eternity Lorethrough. This is being recorded on June 10th, 2023. It is the same day as session 14. I don't think I mentioned the date at the beginning of the last one, so I just wanted to make sure I mentioned that here. We are in Copperlane, the first area of Defiance Bay. This is basically all we did, I think, last session. We just kind of started exploring Defiance Bay. I already knew that this would take up quite a few sessions in Defiance Bay, and here we see that even in just Copperlane is taking more than one session. So yeah, this is gonna take a while, but I think it's worth it. I think this area is rich with lore and history, which is exactly why we're here. So without further ado, let's continue exploring Copperlane. Maybe we go to Lumdala's house, Purnisc's house, where we actually have a quest to give a ring back to Purnisc. Purnisc is a man who was married to a woman who we met in Goose Fox the Inn, and he has become addicted to drugs and has hit her. So she just wants to be done with the marriage. She gave us a ring so that we didn't have to, she didn't have to be married to him anymore. And while I'm thinking about it, why don't I open my inventory and see if we have that ring somewhere and there's a description that we can read. There it is. Kenra's ring. A gold band laced with Audra accents. Okay. Alright.
Of course.
Doesn't open anything up. Just out of curiosity's sake, I wonder how long it would take to get here. 2 days, 15 minutes, yeah. Because, again, Madmer Bridge is broken, so we'd have to go all the way around here in order to actually travel to Madmer Bridge. Yeah. This painting depicts the famous scene from The Light of Dawn in which the traveler and the ghost happen upon a starving man. This is not stealing here. Seems to imply that no one actually lives here anymore. Key to unlock this, okay. Okay, so this is Purnisc's house. See some attics on the floor here. A mercenary. Feel free to make yourself comfortable down here. Top floor is off limits. So this seems to be like a kind of den for, was it Svef I think they were taking? A couple of crude beds have been improvised from an assortment of tattered blankets and pillows. Dribbles of some dark liquid stain the fabric. And there's some Svef right there. Svef can be traced back to provisioners in the Valian republics, where the markets for the plant in question enjoy rapidly rising demand. Most commonly chewed or inhaled, Svef is infamous for its near catatonic state in which it often places its adherents. Those who use it claim the drug gives them a sense of urgency and meaning, lost when the effects fade. More colorful accounts claim that the drug allows one to look within themselves and witness the sight of their own soul. And what Kenra told us, I think her name was that he was becoming particularly violent when he took Svef, but we because we had a high enough survival, knew that Svef doesn't really do that. It makes people calmer almost. So we were a little bit confused as to why Svef was making him feel that way. And that's actually what we see here. These addicts are just kind of passed out on the ground because they can't do much of anything else. Lord Bernwagar. I thought he was the one that died. Yeah, Lord Bernwagar attempted to deal with the angry peasants of his land with force. This show of cruelty inflamed the residents, and Lord Bernwagar was overthrown and killed. But here he is, at our stronghold. What's up with that? Leaving in a little over a week. What does send escorts to? Oh, okay. I might have to go see him again. I wonder if that's like a sun or something like that. Or a glitch.
I can do that. That's settled.
Peridot and Golden Dukes. Doesn't seem like it would be awful to steal from these people. Oh, there's Purnisc in there. Someone has peeled the labels from these bottles. They're stuffed with a dark, gunky pulp that gives off a pungent odor. Mercenary. The guard holds a hand as you approach. You can turn right back around. The lower floor is all yours, but nobody goes upstairs. Why not? He scowls. Because you'll be breathing through new holes in your neck if you head up there, that's why. Just mind your own business. Once you're on Svef, you're not going to care much. You're not going to much care where you are anyway. Fine, I'll be going. Let's talk to Purnisc here.
Good day, stranger.
The man before you flashes you a toothy and rather unpleasant grin. Well now, a new face. Welcome, friend. Name's Purnisc, and this, he gestures to the room around you, is my humble abode and a place of business. And I do hope you're here on some business. He glances at the nearby guard. Seems like a lot of guards for one man. You must be popular. Purnisc raises a brow. Sure, right. Very perceptive. This business attracts some less pleasant types. Sometimes the clientele gets a little pushy, and every so often someone even turns out to be snooping into things they shouldn't, and lessons have to be taught. His face shivers with a quick, unreadable emotion. I'm sure you're too smart to get wrapped up in all that, of course. I keep it simple. If you have the coin, I have the Svef. If you're free to make use of the premises, so long as you don't do anything stupid, and you don't get to tangling with the other customers. Now, Purnisc claps his hands together. What can I get you? I want to... No, I know what Svef is, so I don't need to do that. So I don't know if he actually uses. I feel like he's just a dealer, but we'll see. He's hired a bunch of mercenaries. Give him Kenra's ring. Kenra asked me to give you this. Purnisc takes the ring and turns it around at his fingers. Nice. What's this for? You don't recognize the wedding band you gave Kenra? Purnisc laughs. Oh, yeah, I see now. She's making a statement, is she? Good riddance to her, then. Sorry I ever spent the coin to begin with. Now, is that all? So he doesn't care at all? Yeah, I'm going to say, how dare you hit your own fiancé? How can you live with yourself? She was asking for it, Purnisc growls. Sort of like you, right now. Maybe you ought to quit digging around in affairs that don't concern you. Me? I've got business to get back to. He points. Door's that way. Something's not right here, and I don't plan on leaving until I find out what's going on. Purnisc's eyes narrow. Then you won't be leaving at all, friend. I was tired of wearing this face anyhow. He raises his voice. Guards! To me! Oh. Okay. So he turned into someone named Nerid. So that wasn't actually Purnisc. Got it. Let's try and get rid of him first. They're all coming for us. Nereid. Stop! Nereid staggers back, holding a bloody hand in front of him. I give up. Just leave and I'll go peacefully, alright? Ooh, I have dungeons. You can go peacefully to my dungeon. He flinches, regret already building behind his eyes. If that's my only choice. So even though Nereid's dead and in prison, these mercenaries are still fighting me. That's okay. Okay, so let's find out what's going on here.
All right, then.
I know it's stealing, but there's no one here to catch me. Obviously, bad things were going on here. We've got some mercenaries up there. Psalm to Woodica. Haven't read that one yet. I already read the Deerwood Part 1.
Leave it to me.
Yeah, what's going on over here? The archer can't figure out to run around.
I'm here.
Oh, too late. Some fine weapons. And a rusty bronze key. Valoon. Valoon's namesake is a yellow-orange fruit found in Old Valia. These clear gemstones bear a similar yellow-orange color and are often cut like rubies, sapphires, and emeralds. Most of the world's known Valoon mines have long since dried up, and the stone has become one of the most sought after in recent years. It appears as though someone rummaged through this uneven row of books in a hurry. These jars are chipped and cracked, as if knocked to the ground and set back in place. Adiran Dialects. I don't think we've read that one. Yeah, we haven't read that one yet. So now, aside from... we have 3 parts of the Deerwood history that we haven't read yet, and we are still looking for part 3. We have 4, 5, and 6. And then we also have development of a Crucible Knight Part 2, and I wanted to read Part 1 before we read Part 2. And then a bunch of standalone books at the bottom here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 books that we haven't read yet. So maybe next episode we'll do that. We'll read all the books except for the Deerwood history that I have Unless, of course, we find the Deerwood History Part 3. Oh, there's Purnisc. One side of the overturned vase is splotched with crimson. Someone has gathered sheets and towels into a makeshift bed. The rumpled fabric is stiff with blood and unwashed scent. A man lies bound and bloodied on the floor before you. His face is a tapestry of bruises, and blood is spattered across several corners of the room. The man cringes and sobs as you approach. Gods, please, please no more. I can't take any more. I'm not here to hurt you. The man pauses, gazing up at you. You're not. Oh, praise Bareth, you're not one of his men, are you? He glances nervously behind you. He shakes his head. Please, I don't know who you are, but my name is Purnisc. This is my house. You have to help me. Then who was that downstairs? An imposter, some wizard named Nerid. He came into my house, tied me up in here, tortured me, and now he and his men are eating my food, breaking my things, selling Svef inside my own house. He blinks. He just turned up all of a sudden. Purnisc looks away, unable to meet your gaze. I may have hung on to a tiny portion of my supplier's share, but I needed that money. What exactly happened? He sent over the wizard, Nerid, the man downstairs, Purnisc shudders, to make up the lost copper, I guess, to hurt me while he was at it. It feels like it's been days. He's already taken care of. Purnisc stares at you. I can't believe this nightmare is finally over, he grins weakly, then seems to remember something. You've no idea what you've done for me, but... He looks up at you and away again. I need to find my love, Kenra, only... After what Nerid put her through, I'm afraid she won't give me a chance to explain, but she might listen to you. Please, she must be somewhere in Copperlane. It's the only home she's known. And please, don't tell her about the Svef, and about what I do. I could make it worth your while. A discount, maybe? Yeah, perhaps you should trust her to make your own decisions rather than lie to her. I know, and I can't force you to keep this secret. I just don't want to lose her. After what happened here, I'm sure she won't have anything to do with Svef or me if she finds out. Kenra sent me here in the first place. She did? Purnisc smiles brightly. That woman helped save my life without realizing it. Please, bring her home and tell her everything is back to normal. I'll go talk to her. I can't thank you enough, truly, how I've missed my poor Kenra. Yeah. I'm definitely going to tell her what her husband's been up to. And then after I do that, I want to go back to Cadnua to see the prisoner maybe and deal with this second Lord Bernwagar. Kenra looks up at you as you approach. What happened with Purnisc? Did you give him the ring? Purnisc, and this is what I'm going to tell her. Purnisc was being impersonated by a powerful wizard. However, the real Purnisc is also deals Svef. She covers her mouth with her hand, shocked. Purnisc? My Purnisc is a Svef dealer. If I didn't know you for an honest man... She brings her fist down on the table, sloshing her drink. Damn it. How can I trust him after something like this? That he's lied to me for this long? She runs her hands through her hair and takes a deep breath. I should be glad I found out about this before the wedding. So here's the thing. Yes, he needs help and forgiveness right now, but that doesn't necessarily have to come from her. He's been lying to her for a while. I don't like that there are other men in Defiance Bay. Making the assumption that she needs a man or something like that. I'm just going to say I'm sorry it turned out like this. So am I, but thank you for telling me the truth. Oh, and take this. She unclasped something from her neck, picked it up from one of the merchants to help me stand firm in my decision. I'll be fine without it now. Unwavering resolve added to inventory. Quest completed, his old self. Unwavering resolve. It is an amulet. +2 intellect, +1 resolved. Young Tolino Keel and his father were ambushed by Vithrak whilst on their way to Twin Elms. Before the child even registered the strange arachnids, his father thrust something into his hands and told him to run. As he turned to flee, the creatures blasted him with psionic energy. Tolino's mind reeled, nearly overcome by the insidious power. Suddenly, he was pulled back to his immediate surroundings. Half sprinting, half stumbling away from the Vithrak and his stricken father, Tolino made it to the edge of the town before he collapsed. The town guards were baffled at how the child had withstood the attack. The item his father had given him was an old silver medallion. It was badly worn and missing its chain, and the words, "Do not yield to fear," were barely visible on its surface. As soon as he came of age, Tolino joined the personal guard of local Thane. When he did, he strung it into a thin silver chain and commissioned a priest to enchant the medallion with additional protective wards. Tolino went missing years later whilst on an expedition in the White March, and this must be that amulet. Vithrak are a race, not a possible player character race, but also not necessarily just a beast race. Not just people that you fight, although you can fight them. But I won't go into much detail about them now. But they are spider-like. I have that. Okay, so let's go to Cadnua.
I feel sorry for whoever has to clean up this place.
So I did want to mention that I looked up the calendar. I should really go over the calendar at some point, but I made some kind of mention. Something said it would take 24 hours at one point, and I said, does that mean a day is longer than 24 hours? And it is indeed. It's they have 27-hour days here. I bear a message from the Ducal Palace. Palace Messenger. Greetings, my lord. I bear an urgent message from Chancellor Warren of Defiance Bay. He requests that you meet with him at your earliest convenience in the Ducal Palace. Your claim on Cadnua has been called into question by Gathbin family. Earl Badamar has issued a ruling on the matter, but both you and Lord Gathbin must be present. Who's Chancellor Warren? He's an arbiter of legal matters for Earl Badamar in the grasp. Tell me about this Lord Gathbin. An old Adiran lineage, I believe. He looks around the Great Hall. The former lord of this stronghold, a distant relative of Lord Gathbin, allied himself with the losing side of the War of Defiance. Cadnua is mine. The Gathbin family disagrees, as your claim is not based on lineage. An official ruling is required to remedy this dispute. I'll go meet him then. The Chancellor will await you in the records room of the Ducal Palace and first fires. The messenger bows, then strides away. So someone thinks that they should be the leader of Cadnua besides me.
I trust all is well. Please let me know if there's anything I can do to help.
Why do I have to pay him off? Oh. Well. Don't really know what just happened. Don't want to release Nird. 24 hours. South curtain wall is finished. Let's go see if we can find Nira down in the dungeons below. It's a jailer.
How do you do?
Greetings, my lord. I'm here to maintain the cells for you. Should you take any prisoners in your travels, I will make sure they are attended to as you see fit. Do you have any instructions for me? What do you want done with these prisoners? Definitely not going to flog the prisoners. I don't need anything at the moment. There he is. I should have killed her while I had the chance, you self-righteous bastard. Let's take a quick rest while we're here.
It's... Here are we?
Can't wait till it gets kind of nice so my companions stop insulting my home. Back to Copperlane. Oh, nice. So those were completed. So next. Let's up this. Let's up the security. The calm waters smell faintly of refuse. Oh, there's Peregrine. Hello again, the island woman says in a familiar tone. Thanks for visiting my store. I'm still trying to recover from losing that cargo, she says with a huff. My inventory isn't what it used to be, but hopefully I've got something you'll like. Wonder if she would have had more wares if we didn't let the looters go. She sells traps and camping supplies. Don't need either of those right now.
Hail and well met.
Laura, the young woman, stands by a cart, watching the crowd with large, bright eyes that focus on you as you approach. Take your time, traveler. If you're looking for enchanted scrolls or garb, you've come to the right place. Are you selling a dagger made of march steel? She stands at the tips of her toes and points to a stall between the stairs. You must be looking for Igrin. See that tall Amao over there? He sells weaponry. Anything else I can do for you? Seal of Faith. Just some spells. Some ingredients. Looks like that's it. And potions. This is Telda's ring. An elven wizard of Edir, Telda was forever frustrated by the limits of her own considerable powers. After spending almost 2 centuries mastering most of the spells known to Kith, she found that her greatest challenge lay not with her repertoire, but with her inability to make more frequent use of her magic. She spent the last century of her life studying a means to amplify her abilities. When at last she developed the spell she needed, she had it built into this ring, so that the prudent wizard need not cast the spell to make use of it. Okay, so it gives you more spells when you use it. That might be a good thing, actually. Seal of Faith, is that anything? This thick iron band is dented and scratched and appears to have seen much use. It is studded with 11 small beads, one for each of the gods. It was created by an Adiran priest to remind him of his devotion, particularly in the heat of battle. It is said that, feeling his fingers rub against the beads, he would say a quick prayer to each of the gods who blessed him in return.
Hello.
The merchant smiles brightly. Well met, traveler. Are you interested in purchasing any rations for your journeys? I know this is not the guy with the dagger. Just some ingredients. I would like some of this meat, though, because I want to make savory pie. Oh, and I probably have a bunch of things to sell, so let's do that too.
Hail, traveler.
This is Ygrin. Ygrin stands behind a stall, polishing a broadsword. The patterned flesh around his eyes is crinkled with age, and the muscles in his arms are knotty and lean, but he holds the weapon with ease. He nods at you. Come to take a look? You won't find a finer collection of armor and weaponry in Defiance Bay. Outside Solnid's, of course. Sonild's, of course. He flashes a crooked grin. What's so special about Sonild? She operates in the expedition hall. He jerks a thumb over his shoulder. Sells the best equipment in the city, but women keeps her on a short leash. Keeps her fine inventory reserved for chartered expeditionists, members of the dozens, and anyone else he takes a liking to. So that's how we get the best up, by joining the dozens. I'm looking for a particular dagger made of march steel. Just like the Crucible Knights use. Let me guess, you've been talking to that kid, right? He laughs and shakes his head. I'd be tempted to sell it to you anyways and let the little rascal learn his lesson, but a pack of adventurers already took it off my hands. I want to ask this. If march steel daggers only give to Crucible Knights, how did you get your hands on one? Ygrin pauses mid-polish, his cloth slowing over the blade. A lot of steel passes through my hands, friend. I don't make it my business to ask where it all comes from. Fair enough, I don't mean to pry. Not going to blame him for that. Tell me more. Oh, those adventurers you sold the dagger to, where are they now? Folk like that only visit Copperlane to crew up at Admeth's Den Expedition Hall, or down a pint of goose and fox. And since they weren't headed into the den, well, you've got my best guess. Oh, those are probably those guys that I ran into on the top floor of Goose and Fox, the adventuring party. Can I know more about the dagger? No. Oh, we got some unique stuff here. Have a unique warbow called Borisane. The dwarven clan of Langmire dwelt in the wilds of Nasatok, hunting game and surviving off the harsh land. Summers were brief and winters difficult, but the winter of 2562 AI was one of the hardest in the tribe's long history. A mighty snow leopard had established territory nearby, scaring off much of the game near the village. By Phonaten, the hunters were... this is another reason why I should go over the calendar. Have I done that already? I don't know. Because this is one of the seasons right here. By Phonaten, the hunters were returning with little more than rabbits, and the winter freeze was nigh. A dozen of the best hunters stuck out across the tundra, determined to hunt the great cat. The beast was craftier than they'd planned, and by Inaverno, another season, half of the hunters and most of their hunting foxes had been slain without so much as wounding the leopard. Desperate and furious, one of the hunters crafted a bow from the bones of her slain fox. As her remaining companions looked on, it seemed that all of her rage was channeled into the weapon while she carved and shaped it. Her work completed, she set off and tracked the beast to its lair. Once she'd killed it, she decorated her bow with its teeth as a reminder of the deed and of the long and tragic hunt. Now black with age and use, this bow is nevertheless fierce to behold. It's studded with the teeth of a large cat, and the notches curve in tight spirals. The Lady's Hand, a unique scepter. This slender steel scepter is topped with a gilded feminine hand, each finger ending in a delicate mother-of-pearl nail. It was forged and crafted by the smiths and artisans of the Delwyn, a small town in the foothills of Magmere Mountains in the southern reaches of the Edir Empire. The recipient was Lady Rhaga Adalwyn, 3rd Margrepha of Maganon, who had recently emerged victorious from a brutal campaign against her march by barbarians and agents of a rival family. In leading the defense of the march, Lady Rhaga had lost her left hand. The Emperor had this scepter created to reward her sacrifice during the protection of what was then the Empire's southernmost territory. Unfortunately for the Adalwan family, is that the name of the bridge? They only held the Maganon territories for 2 more generations. With little money and no land, the family set out for the young colonies of the Deerwood. The lady's hand saw renewed use in battle by Brannon Adalwan, Thane of the Low Meadows, during the War of Black Trees. There, Brannon used it to defeat Glenfathan warriors and spirit-animated trees that were marching out of the deep woods. For his service to the colonies, Brannon was made an earl of the new territory of Blackstand, but bad luck struck the Adalwan family twice. Only a year after establishing a fort at the frontier, Brannon was ambushed by Glenfathan resistance fighters. Finishing their main mission, the assassins then pursued his small family and killed every member, leaving no heirs to the House of Adalwan. Following the reinforcement of Blackstand's fort by its new earl, the Adalwan family's belongings were distributed according to the known wishes of Brannon. Notably, the lady's hand, his great-great-grandmother's gift from the Emperor, was bequeathed to Sir Harrig Cardaf, a minor knight of New Homar, alongside whom Brannon had fought in the War of Black Trees. More comfortable with sword and shield than scepter and grimoire, Sir Harrig displayed his friend's gift prominently in his home, but it never saw use in battle again. So I wonder how this person has it then. But I do want to read the rest of them here, but I want to see this family. Something secret. That must be the dagger there. Is this family yet? It's not spelled the same way. So I don't know.
Hail, traveler.
Lost Thane's Reach, a unique pike. Lost Thane's Reach was once wielded by Thane Solmar Sinahad of the Grasp. While engaged in a skirmish outside some Glenfathan rebels in the outskirts of New Homar, Solmar cornered their leader in the edge of a cliff. The rebels quickly interposed themselves between Thane Solmar and their leader, seeking to prevent Solmar from striking the final blow. A skilled pikeman, Solmar was able to foul every effort to strike him, and he ultimately dealt the rebel leader a mortal wound. Unfortunately, the pike's hooked blade became snagged upon the dying elf's armor, pulling Solmar over the edge of the cliff with his foe. So did they drop the pike, or did they fish it out of the water or something at the bottom of the cliff? Shatterstar is a unique warhammer. All around Eora, tales circulate about fabulous weapons fashioned from stones that fall from the heavens. Once believed to be gifts from the gods, and still often seen as such, these stones are now known to be meteorites. Even so, items crafted from them remain precious. Shatterstar was a hammer forged from a solid block of palisite that was discovered by one of Aethys' faithful shortly after St. Widwin rose to power in Raed Saris. So it was a fairly new weapon then. It was crafted into a weapon and carried at the head of the Raed Sarin army during Widwin's march on the Deerwood. As such, it was believed lost at the Godhammer's citadel. The head of the hammer is iron and nickel laced with yellow and orange crystals. It's held in place by bronze band joined to softly jingling rings. So Igrin seems to have a lot of these things that I'm not sure how he got his hands on them. It might just be they needed a place to put these, so they're in his inventory, or maybe he has a lot of access to places that have these kinds of weapons. Maybe he pays people good money to go find this stuff, or maybe he finds them himself. The Dunrant Demon doesn't have the color of a unique item, but it seems unique. Yeah. +2 intellect. Gaswin was one of the Brishelwyn of Erglanfath, who received training from the Deerwooden Animancers around 2785 AI. When Dunrid Row, So Dunrid Row, I believe, is the name of one of the places in Brackenbury. I could be wrong about that. When Dunrid was founded 15 years later, she was one of the first ciphers to join. Though relatively old for an Orlan, she was one of its most enthusiastic and capable agents. Known as the Dunrid Demon, she was ruthlessly methodical and infamous throughout Defiance Bay for prowling the streets in her helmet, searching for clues and connections. At the end of the Saints' War, she was over 40, and she was sent to the Godhammer Citadel to search for traces of St. Widwin. She never arrived, and years later her helmet was found on the road from Echo Bay. So at least this one, there's a good reason why he has it. And we don't know what happened to Gaswin. That's right, I wanted to craft some things. Do I have enough for this? I do. Just for one. The shields have been battered and scarred in long ago battles. What's this down here? There's no marker here. Langdon and Dirty Rigbert. Right. Everyone knows the plan? Up the wall and in the window. Grab the jewel for the pretty little lord. We got it. Listen, dwarf. If I have to... Langdon, we have company. What's going on here? Langdon. A smile like a ragged scar stretches across the man's face. That's the least of your concerns, friend. You've made a grave mistake coming here. He raises his blade. Okay. I'll wait to do that.
You're not getting...
I was not paying attention to Durance there. He now has a wrenched shoulder. Some ripple sponge, that's a drug. I wonder what these guys were up to. Thieves' letter. Our contact inside Raymount Manor said he will leave a second-story window ajar. He's confirmed the location of the heart of the White March in a hidden chamber. Get your crew together and head to Brackenbury before the late Lord Raymount removes the jewel. A.D. I feel like those initials are going to be important. So they were hired by somebody to take something called the Heart of the White March. White March is an area in the world. It is where the DLC of the first game takes place, actually. I've learned of a plot to rob Brackenbury nobleman Lord Raymont in a letter that describes the plans in detail. So I have a quest now to tell somebody about the plot. A few bedrolls and spare tunics are bundled in the corner.
All right, then.
Long, jagged tears slice through the garden scene of this painting. That's tears, not tears. Hey, I actually detected the trap.
What the flame has shown us?
Muddy boot prints and splotches of ale stain the bed sheets. House Dominel. We have not read that one.
A simple test. That's settled.
Adair, you have said you fought in the Saints' War, but for which side?
The one that blew up my god.
I didn't mean anything by it. I imagine a man with a head made of fire and light could be very convincing.
Funny thing about Dear Woodens. With all that fire and light, they just treated him like another authority figure.
Talking about the Saints were there. At Misten, this is where the dozens are. The shields again. Okay, so I think that's going to be a good place as any to stop. I believe we have explored the majority of the outside. We still have some places to go in Copperlane, like the Hall of Revealed Mysteries, Admith's Den Expedition Hall, where the dozens are, and the Catacombs, where we had to find this woman, I forget her name, Rowan, maybe? Rowena, who has been haunting the dreams of a man that was over here somewhere, an old adventurer. But we will save those for another session. Next session is probably going to be a good amount of reading some of the books that we haven't got to yet. So that's what I think we'll be doing next session. Depending on how much that takes, we may or may not also explore some of the inner areas of Copperlane. But yeah, that'll be it for today. Thank you again so much for watching, if you're watching. Always any kind of engagement is great. Like, subscribes, questions, comments, those kinds of things. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you again, and we will see you next time in session 16. Bye, everybody.